I'm going to do something I have never seen on crypto YouTube before, and that is give you a complete portfolio with the altcoins and the exit strategies to make the most amount of profits in 2025. Now, I want to say this portfolio, I'm expecting to go anywhere between $150,000 to $350,000. Yes, it can most definitely exceed those expectations. Does all depend on the bull run. But I wanted to say, for those who are joining me for the first time, first of all, welcome. This portfolio is one I am actually giving away. It's an actual portfolio I am constructing along with the community. You guys that put the most input in and join the Discord down below will be the ones who I put into the raffle to see who might win this portfolio, okay? So this isn't just any random run-of-the-mill portfolio. This is actually genuinely what I am buying, $5,000 worth. Now, if you are someone who wants to copy this, by all means, go ahead, not financial advice, but I am giving you more than just, of course, the altcoin sale. The reasons why. I'm actually going ahead and giving you the exit strategies. Anyone that survived the last bull run or bull runs knows for a fact how crucial having an exit strategy plan is. Simply because it takes the complete guesswork. You know exactly how much money you're getting out of the market. You are not stressed. You're not feeling FOMO. You play it cool, calm, and collected. And honestly, you can get more money out than most people. Most people will lose money without exit plans. It's just facts. So with that being said, let me take your attention to the screen now. We've got a lot of content to go through, so I really want to rush through this. And of course, in my usual fashion, I'm going to provide this free of charge because, again, this is a communal portfolio. You all need to be in the loop just as much as I am, okay? So the first thing I want to ask is, community, right? What do you guys think we should do? I've had a lot of people say to me, because we obviously do live streams every day, and this is quite a common topic. Of course, we talk about this quite a bit. And I've got a few people telling me, Karen, you should give the winner the altcoins and let them sell out themselves. I say no, because as someone pointed out on today's live stream, they could fumble the bag. They might actually lose it all, especially if they are new. It's probably better off if I make those sell orders myself, set them all up, it's all done, and they can obviously move away with X amount of money. I'm going to vote that. Guys, let me know down below what you do think, of course. And for those who are joining me for the first time and you haven't heard of this and you are excited, yes, get amongst it. It very well could be a lot of money you can make if you do participate. We have completed our first DCA into these 4 altcoins. That's why they are, of course, highlighted in green over here. And these are the 4 altcoins I'm going to show you the exit plans on. And as we progress to buy the other altcoins as well, I'll make a video touching on that as well. So what we want to do, a very important thing with exit strategies is repeating it frequently. We don't want to be finding these exit strategies or plans or levels now and then kind of stick with this because things change. These projects could most definitely get a lot better or a lot worse than what we were expecting from this point. And so this is kind of a tipping off point for where we actually need to really look at, okay, as goals. And this is what I'm trying to talk about, okay? So the first one, which is today's date, or yesterday's date, was the 1st of October, 2023. Now in 6 months, we really should do this again, okay? So April 1st, which is actually coincidentally pretty well when the halving happens. Also October 1, so 6 months after that as well, April 1st, and then every 3 months, well, at least one for 3 months, July 2025 is when we should do the next one, and then 1 month after that in August. Now, I'm expecting the top of the bull run to be anywhere between October to December 2025, so that will be right before the bull run. Chances are we might even have a peak around then as well, hence why it's important we also look in July, okay? So we don't really know what's going to happen, but if we can find these levels and have sell orders already marked off on our exchanges, we won't miss a beat. Crypto's 24/7, and we unfortunately cannot survive by being awake 24/7, okay? So I want to say we've bought these 4 altcoins, right? HBAR, Quant, NEAR, and Flux. These 3 at the top are the ones we're DCing more into because they are ones that can kind of almost guarantee us returns, whereas Flux a microcap project, therefore we can expect, you know, it to be more volatile. Now HBAR, I've got 3 by pot here. What does that mean? Well, I've got a pot of cash, $5,000. What I mean by pot is the starting 5,000, and we've got 3 different times we're going to DCA. So we've got 3 specific times. We're going to put in a total of $666, okay? But again, split into 3 different ways. And then we're going to DCA 4 times over the next 12 or so weeks, putting in an extra 320, totaling $986. I'm going to try to average that in about 5 cents. So I think if we can honestly buy the HBAR at 5 cents on average, we're winning because we'll come out with 19,720 tokens. Likewise, the same math applies to Quant and NEAR because again, they are in the top tier. We're just dividing how much we're allocating to essentially the higher cap projects. So 986 into both with an average buy for Quant at 90 and average buy for NEAR at $1.15. Now Flux, we're only buying 2 times, 250 max. So we're putting in a Flux. So again, 2 DCA levels, 125 each. We already have put the first one in, waiting for the second one. If we can average at 35 cents, that's great. We'll come out with a total of 714-ish flux. And you can see the ROI expectations we're looking here for a top tier, low risk, 10x, mid risk, which we haven't bought yet, 15x, and for ones like Flux, at the very, very bottom, we're looking for a 20x. Okay, now if we play this out, we should get around about 200,000. I think it came out to be $200,000 for all these projects we look to buy. Okay, again, I am going to be dollar cost averaging, as you can see, with these levels over here, all right? So let's move into HBAR. Now, with each of these altcoins, I'm going to zoom out real quick and show you guys. Do not be afraid. I've actually got lessons to teach you along the way as well, okay? So it's very important you do pay attention because, again, worst comes to worst, just applies to your own projects, okay? So HBAR, all of these projects, we're going to do a 25 quarterly method, right? We're going to sell 25% of our portfolio at 4 times, okay? So this is going to be the same across all projects. Why are we doing this? The other method, of course, is just going by buy levels and selling a smaller percentage. Well, I'm the one who has to execute on this. I'm the one that will probably likely have to make these trades, and therefore I don't want to confuse myself with my existing portfolio, and I don't want to put too much work into this. We're going to play it a lot more simple, okay? So this is actually HBAR's chart here, and I've obviously drawn in roughly what we can, again, not going to expect exactly this price action, but just for the levels. So we're going to take our initial investment out at a 7x minimum with HBAR, okay? We've already found this price. If you are unsure of how we got to that number exactly, then you just go back and watch some of the live streams. We touch on this. There's a lot of education in those live streams as well. But it's interesting to look at kind of like how inflation might impact a project, okay? We'll touch on this in an example in a second here, but you'll see back, if hypothetically speaking, back in the 2021 bull run, to get to 35 cents, which is where we take our initial investment out, the total investment at this point will hopefully be the $986, including the pot and the overall DCA money. It'd be about $5.2 billion market cap if it was back then, right? With 14.8 billion HBAR in supply. Well, guess what? We have to factor in supply. It'll have to be, for this price, about $12.7 billion market cap. So that just goes to show just how crazy inflation is, because there'll be about 36.3 billion HBARs in supply. If there's less, who cares? Doesn't matter. As long as it hits that price, we sell out. It's very important we make these sell orders, so we're not stressing, okay? So if it fluctuates up and comes back down, we've made that, sell, it's all done and dusted. We can obviously sleep peacefully at that point. So our initial investment at this point is out. Let me just fix this arrow over here because I don't know why it just keeps doing this. So as you can see here, we start off with about 19,720 HBAR. If you're confused where we got that from, pretty simple. It came from over here again. If we bought as many tokens as we possibly can buy for HBAR at $986 at 5 cents a pop, we would come out with exactly 19,720 tokens. Hence, where we start here. Again, buy that at that price. Well, of course, we take our initial investment out of that first level. So in that case, we come to 16,900 tokens. Now, this is something that every single one of you needs to do, whether you follow this portfolio or not. You need to do what I'm about to show you here, because again, you know exactly how much money you're taking out of that project, and you can set the sell orders. This is the method I personally follow, and it helps me so damn much. So again, we withdraw the initial investment at the initial investment out level, 35 cents. And then from there, we take the existing amount of tokens we have, so the 16,900 odd. And then we, of course, find where we decide to sell HBAR. So at this, I'm deciding to sell at 45 cents, 67 cents, 83 cents, and then maybe selling at $1.03. Why are these obscure numbers? Well, of course, in uncharted territory, we need to, of course, make sure we are not selling on whole numbers. Whole numbers in uncharted territory, where there's no previous price action for, support and resistance levels, we have to make sure that we're beating the market psychology here, right? Everyone's going to be like, at this point, oh, I'm going to sell at 70 cents. Well, at least some people will. Well, we sell a little bit before that, and that way we can, escape this, extremely hard resistance level, okay? So we sell, 45 cents over here. We sell a proportion, okay? So we're selling quarterly from not the original 19,000 tokens, but from the 16,000 tokens, because remember, we took out our initial investment already. So we're selling from the 16,900 tokens, again, the exact same, just quarter of this every single time, which the first quarter comes to a result of we're holding 12,600 tokens. So long story short, we're essentially profiting $1,900. Now we can continue to go up this list, right? So the next sell is again 67 cents. So if we then take the new total we hold over here and then sell again a proportion of the 16,000 by way of a quarter. So we get 8,450 remaining tokens. We profit 2,800, so on and so forth. The same method follows. We have 8,450 remaining over here. We start with 8,450, we sell a quarter, so on and so forth. Now, the last quarter is the interesting one, right? So we can obviously decide to sell the last quarter at a level that we, so deem, so wish. But in saying that, we can also do this over here. Okay, so we can decide to hold from the second last 25% level, the orange level here, and we can decide to hold for a potential huge surge in price. That's what we can do. Okay, either way, if we decide to sell at $1.03, I think it's very reasonable. These are very reasonable numbers. We'd make $4,352 in that one sell, okay? Now, I'll touch on why it might be important to actually hold the remaining 25% later on in just a second. So guys, what this enables us to do here is just add up each of these 4 levels and it comes to a total profit, 12,591. Now, technically this is profit because it doesn't include our initial investment. Remember, we have that already. This is pure profit. And as you can see here, we've almost 13x, okay? So that's quite impressive. And as we know from before, that definitely does meet our ROI expectations for our low risk, that's for sure. Now, we do have to factor in tax. So tax might be a little bit of a hindrance in this case. So I want to point that out. I'm not factoring in tax. Tax might be about $2,000 to $3,000 in this case. Still, this is a very, very sizable amount if you ask me. Now, how I actually managed to find these numbers and do the math on this, it isn't that difficult math, but the hard part is when you start fiddling around with all these obscure numbers, 19,720 HBAR, 16,902 HBAR, that gets fiddly. So what I've done for you guys is given you the ChatGPT prompts anyone can use. ChatGPT is free, you can use it for free. And so I suggest using this prompt sheet here, take you through the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth prompts to get you the exact levels to find out how much money you're making as well. It's all taken care of for you. Please go ahead and use that. Now over here for QNT, it's a little bit different. Now QNT is a bit hard because it's going to have explosive gains in the next bull run. I believe I'm not going to even bother selling before the all-time high like we did over here with HBAR. It's most definitely, in my opinion, going to shoot well above that. So we are taking our initial investment in at $742, and you guys get the drill by now. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of these because, again, the sheet is provided to you. So go ahead, look through it, read through it, see how I've come up with these levels. Quite interesting, right? I pretty much just added $200 every time we sell. Again, it might be important for us in this case just to hold off, right? So we can decide to sell our very, very last 2.4 QNT and have nothing left over, or hold the last 2.4 QNT at the orange level, okay? And then decide to sell. We might want to sell at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, we don't know. And I want to remind you all, it's very important that we remember, these aren't the be-all and end-all numbers. Don't think, hey, Karen, so you're telling me your price prediction for Quant is roughly max going to be around, 1,300 or 1,500. No, I think it's got a lot higher than that. I'm only saying these levels as a starting kicking off point. As we get more data, as these projects begin to grow, different ways, we can begin to go, okay, well, maybe Quant's going to be even more bullish than we think. Maybe HBAR is more bearish. We just don't know quite yet, all right? And that's the beauty of it all. Overall, we're getting about the 12x out, so we're still beating our ROI expectations, which is the main point. And remember, these will be sell orders, right? Sell order complete levels. We don't have to worry about actually doing anything because we know, okay, we are going to make a 12x on Quant minimum if we follow this, right? There can be a lot more if we decide to hold the last 25% for that massive blow off top potential, okay? Now, I want to bring up a very, very important point here again, inflation, okay? Inflation can really kick people in the ass because if you're someone like most people do, which is don't factor it in, you might be expecting, for example, price to follow and hit a level like this for HBAR, for example, 57 cents. Your expectation, because market cap might go to $19 billion. That's what you're expecting. And you work it out based on the existing HBAR tokens, right? But the difficult thing is, right? So if HBAR's market cap was, 19 billion, or at least you projected it to be $19.1 billion, and its current supply was 33 billion, you're going to get a number like this, right? 57 cents. So you might be expecting that, and you might have your sell orders around that level. In reality, if you actually factor in inflation, it's inflation in the next bull run won't be what it is right now at 33.45 billion tokens. It'll actually be 36.3 billion, okay? And so with the same market cap, you're gonna get a price of this, 52 cents. Therefore, if you were expecting this to happen, in reality, you need to be factoring in for this. And this makes a really big difference when you're talking about projects like Quant, for example, again, or projects with high inflation rates, because this difference here will be dramatic and you'll be cut short. So that's one thing I wanted to very much point out. you guys need to obviously factor in inflation carefully. Now, again, the same thing for Near Protocol. I mean, I can go through this all day, every day and tell you guys what we're looking at. Near Protocol's an 18x. Again, these numbers might be very different, okay? So with Near, we're taking our initial investment out at $7. And the difference here is you'll see we're actually increasing our profit, well, at least the next sell level by $10 basically. You'll find with these other projects on this list that, well, apart from, you'll find it with Flux, not with Quant, obviously Quant looks a bit skewed, right? But you'll find with HBAR, we're actually making this first sell order quite early on, and that's for a reason. We're making it early on because we want to at least secure some gains, just in case the worst were to happen. At least we can say, hey, we come out of the bull run with a whole heap of tokens still and some gains, as well as our initial investment safe, okay? So again, same thing plays out. We have more multiples on Near. Now again, this is a pencil in. Near might be less, might be more than the other guys. We just don't know. These are levels that I am kind of anticipating based on some of my predictions. The thing with Quant is I could have honestly come up here and said, you know, this was, you know, $2,500. Truth be told, the reason why I haven't is simply because this chart would have been like up here in size and I was not drawing that, you know. You guys get the idea by now. It's a very early phase. Now, the next lesson I want to teach you all is this. If you sell all of your positions in the first run up, meaning this, right? So for example, if the next bull run had like a triple top, double top, like the last bull run did, we come up, retrace, come up, you know, that sort of happens. Well, this is going to apply to you because I know a lot of you guys are going to get worried about this, right? Who cares if you sell everything in the first run because you know exactly how much money you've made following this premise? We can leave some on the table for exponential returns, meaning this over here, okay? Depending on whether the altcoin has had their narrative or peak. I believe that a narrative or peak is when we should be making sure we have sold 100% of our holdings, even if the news or future news that we obviously can't tell at that point pushes the price higher, or there is a secondary narrative that might actually come into fruition. Why? Because we want secured higher returns. We aren't gambling. But what I'm saying is here, who cares if this initial run-up was half the size of the actual main run-up of the whole entire market? You know, projects move differently. They move in narratives. Now, what we're looking for is when everyone's buying a certain narrative, layer one, we most definitely should be making sure that this last 25% is sold within. Because, for example, HBAR might have its narrative pop off in this section, and then even then the rest of the market essentially has a secondary top over here, right? HBAR might not. HBAR might crumble down here and do this, okay? So you really want to maximize your gains based on the individual projects, hence why it's very important that we don't have a crazy amount, because it's going to be hard for you to follow narratives and when you really should be selling or not, okay? And of course, lastly, we have Flux. Now, same thing applies with Flux. You'll see that over here, taking an initial investment out at $2.55. Now, I have actually kind of, interestingly with Flux is $4.75 to $2.55 is what? It's about a $2.20 difference. So it's actually quite a lot. It's almost double at that point. But in relative terms, I don't really think it is. Why? Because Flux is a micro cap. The explosive potential here is a lot more than the other projects that might, you know, take a lot more capital to make those sort of sudden crazy gains. Whereas Flux, we're talking about, yeah, well, it's going to be quite a lot for the project. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, you know, if it 2x's its market cap at that point, 1 billion to 2 billion market cap, that ain't that much money for a project, okay? So again, these are rough numbers here. I just wanted to point them out to give us a kicking off starting point, right? Now with Flux, it's good, 19x, okay? So we're taking these 4 profits. As you can see, we're not trying to make crazy gains here, right? We're not trying to make crazy gains. We're just trying to be as secure as possible. But of course, you know, any project can do anything at this point in time. Now, the last thing I want to say to you guys, and the last bit of, I guess, alpha is, 1, notice how hard it becomes when you deal in fractions. This is why it's important to always buy in whole numbers and not how much you can afford a DCA. I will try to throw in a little bit of extra money to ensure the final numbers are whole numbers. So as I kind of showed you with HBAR, and it's the same with all these projects, we are dealing with fractions, 714.29. It's very, very messy and disgusting. I've had to round up here multiple times, of course, as you can imagine. So we don't want to be doing that. We're buying in whole numbers, so that process is a lot more simple. We can divide very easily, okay? Number 2, please remember that these prices will change and we'll be revisiting these periodically. Remember, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month. If you wanted this done for you, including being updated regularly, wait until my website is completed. It'll be a cheat sheet for all your favorite altcoins. So yes, I am doing these for every single one of the 30 to 40 altcoins that I talk about the most, okay? You'll have a cheat sheet already done for you, updated very, very frequently. So guys, with that being said, thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully it has been comprehensive. You hopefully have learned something new. That's the whole premise of why we do these videos, basically. And with that being said, take good care. Talk to you all soon.